Welcome to Primary Markets TV for Europe, Middle East and Africa, your update on newly issued securities in the region. I'm Dan Barnes. Coming up this week, in terms of new issues we're seeing in the market, we have two IPOs on the London Stock Exchange's AIM market for small cap firms, with an expected £100 million issue from online clothing and footwear retailer N Brown Group on the 23rd of November, that's today, and on the 25th, a £3.3 million issue from Richland Resources. We still don't have a confirmed date for the launch of Kistos, a newly incorporated closed-end investment company focused on the energy sector, but that's slated to join AIM in late November. The LSE has seen a lot of new bonds reported to it over the past week, notably from the banking sector, along with several from the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, two new issues from Toyota, and several new bonds from Asia-Pacific-based issuers supported by HSBC. In Vienna, Wiener Boerse has real estate developer Aventa AG listing today, 23rd of November, on its Direct Market Plus segment. Last week, real estate specialist Techno Solutions launched on the Bourse Italiana on the 9th. We have no new issues in Italy on the calendar this week. In Spain last week, the BME's bond market saw a €600 million sustainable bond admitted to trading via the Bilbao Stock Exchange from the Basque government. That was on the 18th of November. And on Friday the 20th, they admitted to trading the first dual covered bonds program from Banco Caminos and Bancafar. This novel issuance structure in this fixed income market will allow Banco Caminos and Bancafar to place different covered bond issues over the course of a year, up to a combined €600 million. I'm joined now by Bryn Jones, Head of Fixed Income for Rathbones, and Tom Williams, Head of Energy and Infrastructure at Downing. Guys, welcome to the show.
Hi, good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Bryn, in fixed income, are new issue volumes and activity levels where you might expect for this time of year?
Yeah, we're predominantly focused on the sterling market. I think into the US election, we've got a bit quiet. But more recently, we've seen a bit of uptick in some new issuance. Overall, though, sterling this year has been pretty quiet relative to other years. So when we are seeing issuance, demand's quite high. I mean, there was an issuance for Tritax today, the Green Deal, £250 million deal, £2 billion worth of orders. So nearly 10 times oversubscribed. So there's excess demand chasing a lack of supply at the moment.
Oh, that's very interesting. And whereabouts are you finding value in the primary markets?
Normally, in the initial price talk, it looks quite attractive. Most of the deals come where there was a housing association bond this week that came, was looking quite attractive on the IPT, and then by the time the deal came, it compressed into where secondary market spreads are trading. We're seeing that habit happening a lot as demand, as I say, outstrips supply. So I don't think there's a huge amount of new issue premium at the moment because of that.
Are there any sectoral trends that you're following?
Yeah, definitely ESG, green, sustainability linked notes, and we saw one from NL, this Tritax one. Yeah, I'd say majority of deals coming now are either green or sustainability linked. Every syndication desk we're speaking to spoke to some big US banks this week, and they're setting up ESG, sustainability linked syndication desks. So it seems to be what's happening.
That's great. Thanks very much. And in terms of government bonds in EMEA, I know you're very sterling focused, but do you have a sense of how they're doing in terms of issuance and attractiveness?
Well, this comes a big macro thing, really. You know, there's been a huge amount of fiscal deficits and increase in government debt to pay for coronavirus and various other things. In the UK, you know, we know that's increased quite significantly, but at the same time, you know, there's monetisation of debt. Central banks are buying it, so all the while the central governments are having to issue it. It's being lapped up. I mean, New Zealand effectively are monetising the debt for every dollar they're issuing. It's being bought up. So you know, one would argue in a normal environment, such issuance would mean that you'd need to, you know, write kind of a premium or a yield premium, but that doesn't seem to be happening. The most exciting thing that happened in the last couple of weeks is the announcements of green gilts, which we've been lobbying the government for over 10 years, and it's a welcome thing for us because in our ethical mandates, it means now we can manage liquidity and risk and duration a lot better.
That's great. Bryn, thanks very much. Tom, we were wondering if you could tell us about the IPO of your Renewables and Infrastructure Trust. Why are you coming to the market now, and what are you going to be raising capital for?
Yeah, thanks. So I think the answer to why now is really that the opportunity is now. We're seeing a lot of transactions in this space, a lot of very attractive transactions. We're looking to raise a 200 million fund. We have 60% of that in seed assets and assets under exclusivity, and a further 1.5 billion pipeline. So we can very clearly demonstrate that opportunity is here and now. And what we're hearing from investors on the appetite for this vehicle is that they look at the wider peer group of, it's about 9 billion. It's trading at a circa 16% premium. And that clearly indicates that there's a huge appetite for these long-dated cash flows delivering stable dividends. Yeah. And what that is indicating to us is that there's clearly space for another offering that's well thought through in the sector.
Yeah, very much so. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of interest in the green area at the moment. When you see that appetite from investors, is that coming from both institutional investors and retail investors? Can you tell us a bit about who you think is going to be the acquirers here?
Yeah, we're seeing appetite across the board, actually. Right. So, Downing is quite an experienced manager, as you'll be aware. We have about 1.2 billion under management. An awful lot of that is from retail investors as well as institutional investors. And we're finding that this message about the fund being investing in renewable energy and infrastructure projects in the UK and Northern Europe, particularly the Nordics, it is resonating with people. Not only in that retail space, not only in the institutional space, but also in that sort of money manager and wealth manager area as well. So it's really finding appeal across the board.
That's fantastic. Well, I hope it goes very well. Tom, Bryn, thanks very much.
Thank you. Cheers.